Hello everyone. Today we are happy to announce the Azure Connect Microsoft Azure Public Cloud integration for Windows Azure Pack from Cloud Assert. Azure Connect enables provisioning and managing resources, specifically virtual machines in Microsoft's Azure Public Cloud from your on-premise deployment of Windows Azure Pack based private/hybrid cloud. So what are the scenarios Azure Connect and WAP enables for a typical enterprise or a hosted service provider? From the admin perspective, as an administrator of an enterprise or a hosted service provider, you can control what gets deployed to the public cloud, how it gets deployed. For example, what type of virtual machine images can be deployed and what virtual networks those virtual machines be connected to. Those are some of the things that the admin can control and configure. With vConnect's operations templates from WAP through Azure Connect, administrators can automate their current business processes. Maybe you want to invoke a System Center runbook when a new VM gets created. Maybe you want to send an email whenever the VM is ready for using. Those business processes are very easy and you can do a seamless automation of all this through vConnect. With vConnect's command extensions, administrators can add new functionality dynamically that enhances the end user experiences through Windows Azure Pack and vConnect. Azure Connect and vConnect also generates usage data for the virtual machines running in Windows or Microsoft Azure Public Cloud. While Azure Connect on vConnect and Windows Azure Pack provides these centralized single place for administrator to control and configure the provisioning and management experience. From the end user, from the tenant user's perspective, Azure Pack based self-service cloud provides the utmost flexibility and agility for the new modern DevOps scenarios. Azure Pack Tenant Portal provides the single place of control and management for the end users to manage their assets or resources across the System Center VMM based virtual machines with vConnect to VMware virtual machines and Azure Connect for Azure public cloud virtual machines. With a rich set of automation and extensibilities and the command extensions, end users get this rich integrated experience from the single place of tenant portal. They also get to see the usage reports ongoing near real-time utility of their resources across this cross-platform clouds from the single place. If you have deployed Cloud Assert's usage and billing solution, end users can also see their ongoing usage, download their detailed usage, or even set up an alerting based on their consumption. So before we get into the demo, quick overview of the concepts between Azure Public Cloud and Windows Azure Pack. In Azure, everything is based on subscriptions. So you enter your credit card, subscribe, and then you can use all the resources. Similarly, in WAP, you can sign up for a plan and you get a subscription, and then you can use the resources. The latest technology from Azure side is Azure Resource Manager or ARM. It comes up with a way to define the resources that you want to deploy to the public cloud. It's called ARM templates. So these templates define the resources or the virtual machine configurations that you want to deploy to Azure. It also specifies the VM images, the storage specs, network specifications, etc. So when you use Azure Connect with WAP, we leverage these existing technologies in Azure to help you deploy and provision and manage resources in Azure in a similar way like how you would do in a public cloud, but through this on-premise hybrid or private cloud based on WAP. Combining this with vConnect's own operations templates and VM templates, you can customize the way, the behavior, or the topology in which the VM gets deployed, and also at the same time automate, add steps in the process of creation of the virtual machines or while the VM gets deleted. We will see more about all these concepts as we progress through this presentation. So now I'm going to walk through the steps for configuring Microsoft Azure's public cloud subscriptions from within Windows Azure Pack admin portal. So now I am in the Windows Azure Pack admin portal under the vConnect tab on the left hand side. You can see that once I click the connections tab in vConnect, now I see two types of connections. One is the vCenter, which enables vConnect and Windows Azure Pack to integrate with VMware vCenter. Now we have added the new type of connection to connect to Windows Azure Public Cloud. The first step is to add a connection. So I'm going to just edit an existing connection. So in this step, you can onboard your existing Windows Azure, Microsoft Azure based public cloud subscriptions right here. And we have a block to explain the steps of creating the Azure application ID, AD application ID, and the password to onboard your subscription here. So once you add your subscriptions, now these Azure subscriptions can be used from this private cloud, private deployment of Windows Azure Pack to provision VMs in the public cloud. After you add the connection, the next step is to also enable the connection in one or more plans. You may have an existing plan, or you can create a new plan and add the vConnect service, and under the vConnect service you can drill down and look at the plan settings, where you will see the list of connections that are available from vConnect. You will see the vCenter, and now with the Azure Connect you will also see connection for Azure Public Cloud. You can select this, and there are a bunch of other quotas that you can leverage like CPU cores, memory, etc. So these quotas are applied across the platform. So 40 cores is applied across the vCenter or Windows Azure Public Cloud. So this way, as an administrator, you can control how much the user can consume across these multiple platforms. At the plant settings level, as an administrator, you can also control what operations your end users, your tenant users can perform. Like you may want to prevent them from reconfiguring a VM or deleting a VM, for example. You can configure those settings right from the plant settings page of vConnect. So after you add a connection and then associate with a plan, the next step is to configure VM templates. So VM templates are the way for the administrators to enable what you want to expose for your end users to be able to deploy, and what types of parameters you want to specify or provide as a default for your end users. Before we go and configure a VM template, let's take a moment to reflect on the various configuration options available through different types of templates in vConnect for Windows Azure Pack. VM templates enable administrators to customize what gets deployed or what gets exposed for your end users. So vConnect can build this input wizard that drives the end user screens and end user deployment flow. From the Azure Connect perspective, VM templates can also define the type of Azure Resource Manager templates the administrators want to use. So VM templates are the way you define your input. Operations templates of vConnect defines the business process flow. As an administrator, you kind of orchestrate what steps are taken for deploying a VM, a VM template. You could expose or you could invoke a System Center runbook, or you could simply send an email as part of these steps. One such step for Azure Connect is deploying to Azure Resource Manager ARM deployments. VM templates and ARM templates in turn use Azure Resource Manager templates in order to deploy resources to Windows Azure or Microsoft Azure. So this is to give a quick look at the various templates that you will encounter with vConnect on Windows Azure Pack. So now let's take a look at how to create and add a new VM template for Azure Connect inside Windows Azure Pack. From the Windows Azure Pack admin portal, under connections, under vConnect connections Azure, you select the connection to the subscription that you just added and drill down. You will see the tab called VM templates. So from here you can click add, and this will bring up the wizard that helps as an administrator to define the template and various parameters that you would like to expose to your end users. So now here I have an option to select the Azure Resource Manager template, ARM template, that I want to use for deploying this VM. And this ARM template in turn defines various other configurations. And this wizard dynamically gets built based on the ARM template that is chosen. So I'm going to give this Windows 2012 R2 data center VM, and in these next steps this wizard has just pulled out all the parameters or the variables that are defined in the ARM template that the ARM template is expecting, and as an administrator gives me an option to say, hey, what are these parameters that I would like to control as an administrator versus what I would like to give my end users the ability to change. For example, I want to log down the location. I would like to log down the storage account under which the VMs VHDs are created, but I would like my end users to be able to uh, provide their own admin username and password. I'm going to lock down everything else. I could lock down the VM size. I'm going to leave that as a choice for the end user. So just like that, with a couple of simple steps, I was able to add a new virtual machine deployment template. So once we have added one or more such templates, the end users from the tenant portal, they will be able to use these VM templates to deploy new VMs, virtual machines, to Azure Public Cloud from Windows Azure Pack tenant portal. So we have just seen about creating a VM template, and within Azure Connect, we also leveraged the Azure Resource Manager templates. So what are these Azure Resource Manager templates, and how are these related to the VM templates or vConnect and Windows Azure Pack? We are going to take a look at some of the samples. On the machine where vConnect stays deployed, if you browse to the installed folder of vConnect, which typically is the system drive, inetpub, and MGMT service, Cloud Assert vConnect, bin, and browse to the ARM templates folder, you will see few of the default ARM templates that ships with vConnect, and these are the options that you have seen when you create a new VM template. As an administrator, you can create your own ARM templates and drop it into this folder, or you can download from the available hundreds of ARM templates from MSDN and TechNet and other blogs and drop it in this folder, and these ARM templates will be available when you create new VM templates from vConnect. So this is a sample ARM template that ships along with vConnect. Like we mentioned before in the earlier slides, ARM template defines an Azure resource. In this case, we are talking about a virtual machine, so it determines the size of the VM that gets created, various other dependent resources that the VM requires, etc. vConnect takes advantage of the ARM templates, the standard construct in Windows Azure, to deploy virtual machines from Windows Azure Pack to the Microsoft Azure public cloud. In Azure Connect, which is based on vConnect platform, provisioning new resource or deprovisioning a resource start execution of series of steps. These steps are defined in what we call as operations templates. These operations templates are available for the administrators to add or modify the sequence of steps that happens during provisioning and deprovisioning processes. Let's take a quick look at one of the sample operations templates that ships with Azure Connect and vConnect. In the vConnect installed folder, which typically is a system drive inet pub mgmt svc cloud asset vConnect, drill down to the bin templates folder, you will see few pre-built templates, operations templates that ships with vConnect. You can also copy any of these templates to create your own operation templates which contains your own sequence of steps. So let's look at one of the sample templates. So this is an operations template that is used to deploy virtual machines in VMware. So basically this template defines the sequence of steps that happens whenever a new VM gets provisioned to VMware. If you notice, these steps can be the standard steps provided by vConnect, or you can add a step that executes a PowerShell script as part of the sequence. These operation steps can be implemented in PowerShell, as you see here in one of the samples, or you can also write it in any .NET language, and both are supported in operations templates. A lot of our enterprise customers use operation templates to automate their entire business processes that happens during provisioning and deprovisioning of resources. For example, this is a real-life operations template sequence implemented by one of our customers. As you can see, they have about 10 or more set of steps that happens whenever a new VM gets provisioned. In Azure Connect and vConnect, this is possible. This enables administrators to augment whatever process that you have into the single Windows Azure Pack based provisioning process. As an administrator, you can create a number of these operations templates. You can have a set of templates for a specific connection. The way you will do it is, again, you can create your own folder and add the templates with the standard naming conventions into that folder, and then you can specify this folder path per connection. For example, in the admin portal vConnect connections Azure, you can edit a connection, and if you scroll down you will see a setting for operations template directory. So per connection you can modify the sequence of steps that happens during VM provisioning. So you can cater to different types of customers based on the plan and the connection and based on the type of operations template you choose. So now that we have set up everything from the admin side for Azure Connect, namely we added a connection to your existing or new Azure subscriptions. Then we have added Azure Connect / vConnect to be available for a WAP plan. Then we have added a VM template that enables end users to create new virtual machines based on predetermined templates. Then we looked at the operations templates that will enable you to modify the sequence of steps that happens. And now we are going to take a look at the Windows Azure Pack tenant portal and look at the experience from the end user, the tenant user perspective. I'm now going to log in into Windows Azure Pack tenant portal. Because I have already signed up for a plan that has Azure Connect or Reconnect, I will see the set of services that are available to me as an end user. So I see vConnect here. So let's take a look at the experience for creating a new VM in the Azure public cloud. This is from Windows Azure Pack tenant portal. Create new VM. If I have more than one subscription, I can select the subscription. And from the admin perspective, administrators may enable more than one connection in the same plan. In that case, I will see all the connections I am enabled to deploy my virtual machines to. So in this case, my admin has enabled vCenter 6, vCenter 5.5 and Azure Public Cloud connections to my plan. So I'm able to see all of this here. From the admin perspective, you can control what is shown here. For example, you can abstract the fact that these connections actually deploy to Azure or vCenter. You can name it in a different way so your end users doesn't need to know what is the underlying platform is. So it's up to you whether you want to abstract that or give that information in the connection name. So I'm going to choose Azure Public Cloud, open the Create Wizard. So this brings up the wizard that is built dynamically based on the administrator configured VM template. So I'm going to give a name here. So we also inline validate the VM name with Azure. So in here, I will see the list of templates that are available to me that are defined by the administrator. Once I choose a template, this wizard shows the next steps that are required for me to fill. As you can see here, even though the ARM template requires tons of other parameters to be configured, for me as an end user, I don't have to worry about all those parameters. All I have to worry about is the limited set of things that I need to provide as an end user. The other knobs and the settings, I don't have to worry about it because my administrator has already taken care of it. Administrator has provided the default values and the correct values that enables IT organizations to say what types of images gets deployed and how it can be deployed in a way it is conforming to your enterprise compliance and security. So here we only need to enter the admin username and password. Let's do that. Again, the wizard and the input parameters you see here, these are entirely controlled from the VM template configuration, which is done by the administrators. So if you want to give more control to your end users as an administrator, you can allow any and all parameters to be modified by your end user. Or if you want to retain control over certain parameters, you can configure it yourself and the end user will not see those parameters here. It's totally flexible model that will suit to your specific scenario and business needs. Let's submit that. So now the create VM request has been submitted to vConnect's deployment engine, and that in turn is going to contact the Azure Resource Manager to deploy this VM in public Azure cloud. For a virtual machine that is in Azure public cloud, you can do all the power management operations like power on, you can delete the VM, etc. If you drill down, you can look at some of the additional details like the IP address, and the connection it's using, etc. And when the VM is in powered off state, you can also reconfigure the virtual machine through the list of standard compute instance sizes that are available here. These instance sizes are also controlled through the ARM templates defined by the administrator. For a VM that is powered on, you can also connect a remote desktop into the VM through the RDP, similar to the experience from your Azure Public Cloud portal, except all of these management and the connectivity is happening from within Windows Azure Pack private cloud deployment on your premise or in your hosted environment. Now let's take a look at one of the most used features in vConnect platform, which is the command extensions. Command extensions enable administrators to add new functionality into the user experience in the Windows Azure Pack tenant portal that enables the users to do more self-service type of functions without needing us to create new features. The administrators can add new commands appear for the end users in the tenant portal. In order to add a new command for the end users, I'm now going into the Windows Azure Pack Administrator portal, vConnect, Connections, select Azure, and then select a connection and click the drill down. Now I see VM templates, and alongside I see the tab for commands. Here you can add any command that you would like to provide as a self-service mechanism that appears for your end users. A typical command takes a command name, and you can provide any PowerShell script that executes whenever the user clicks on the command. So you could add a simple command like send email or create support request. All these commands and the scripts behind them have a standard convention based mechanism where vConnect will pass all the information about the resource that is selected by the user. So you can add a command as simple as sending an email to the support team, or let's say a scenario is you would like to add a command that takes a backup of an Azure virtual machine to the blob store. So for this command, I have created a script that basically, given a VM in Azure, it takes a copy of the VHD attached to the VMs to a blob store and a container specified through this vConnect, Azure Connect custom command extensions. Since I have already created the script and the command, I have it exported through the import export feature in vConnect custom command extensions. So in order to save time, I'm just going to import the script that we have created previously to enable backing up a VM to Windows Azure Blob Store. So you can select the script in the zip file and you say import. So like how we created a command from the scratch, you can also import and export an existing command. So this backup to Azure command takes in some of the custom parameters. You can add new parameters to the command, and we have blogs and documentation about various options that you have to define a new command. For example, you can add a new parameter that gets passed to your script, and the user gets to enter the input for those parameters. So now that we have added a couple of commands, let's look at the tenant portal experience and see how these commands appear for the end user. So now we are in the Windows Azure Pack tenant portal. When I select a VM, we can see that the commands button appears here. And if I click this, we can see that a couple of new commands that we added from the admin portal is already here. So let's say if I click on backup to Azure, so this is going to execute the command and take a backup of my VHT to a blob store in Azure. And this command returns a HTML result, so you can display a nice result from your script right in the Windows Azure Pack tenant portal for your end users. So as we have demonstrated, within a couple of clicks and few minutes, we were able to enhance the experience of the end user from the admin perspective, and we have made a self-service support type of scenario through Windows Azure Pack tenant portal. So from envisioning the new functionality to having your end users use those functionality, it just takes few minutes with vConnect and Azure Connect on Windows Azure Pack platform. So far we have looked at how to configure Azure Connect in Windows Azure Pack and with vConnect. We have seen various options to extend and customize the functionality like VM templates, operations templates, custom command extensions, and leveraging ARM templates to deploy resources to Microsoft Azure Public Cloud. We have also looked at the experience from the end user, how everything comes together to provide a rich self-service experience from the Windows Azure Pack tenant portal across all these cloud platforms such as VMware, vCenter, and Microsoft Azure Public Cloud. On top of this, we have added another tenant portal extension called Azure Resource Management Extension. This enables end users to have a quick look at not only the virtual machines but all resources. It may be a SQL Azure database, Azure storage, or network, public IP addresses, etc. from right within the Windows Azure Pack tenant portal. So we are now in the Azure Pack tenant portal. You can see the Azure Resource Management extension. This is in addition to the functionalities that we have just seen for managing VMs in Azure Public Cloud. So this Azure Resource Management extension provides a quick look at all the resource groups that are available for the user in Windows Azure Pack. So if you drill down on a specific resource group, you can see all the resources. For example, the virtual machines, the virtual networks that are leveraged by the virtual machines, public IP storage, database, etc. Not only those, every single resource that are tied to the resource group and in turn to the WAP subscription can be seen right from the Windows Azure Pack tenant portal. And we have added just a simple CRUD operation specifically to delete the resources. As we go along, we will be adding more support for more operations for these Azure resources. So this UI provides a way to look at all resources across your public Microsoft Azure cloud. So far we have seen about Azure Connect. We have drilled down and looked at how to configure and how to use from both admin and end user perspective. To summarize, from Cloud Assert, we have suite of products for Windows Azure Pack to enable hybrid cloud, cross-platform scenarios. And we have released several updates in this first quarter, in the starting of 2016. For vConnect, we have added a lot of enterprise features, enhanced the operations template-based deployments. We have added a new connection to Azure Public Cloud, which enables end users to deploy provision VMs from your private hosted cloud into the public Azure cloud. We have did a lot of enhancements and feature additions to our usage and billing platform, such as now we support various types of offers, uh, pay-as-you-go, prepaid credits, and autofill of credits, etc. Along with that, we enable much more sophisticated scenarios. So the usage and billing solution deployed in Windows Azure Pack can leverage what we call as custom collectors to bring in usage not just within Windows Azure Pack, but any usage, any metering is possible through the usage and billing solution. So the end users can look at all their bill, all their usage from within Windows Azure Pack across various service offerings that you may have. With Windows Azure Pack and vConnect from Cloud Assert, now you can provide services across various cloud such as VMware, vCenter, Azure Public Cloud. And when Azure Stack comes along towards the end of this year, vConnect will support seamlessly provisioning both to Azure and Azure Stack from within your Windows Azure Pack deployments. We also integrate with System Center and Veeam to provide backups for virtual machines on both VMware and System Center platform. Combining the vConnect solution with Cloud Assert's usage and billing, you can now monetize, meter, and put a pricing for all and any of WAP resources, such as SQL and MySQL databases, websites, your backups that are enabled through our Veeam integration, and you can also monetize your service offerings for the third-party resource providers such as Five9 Security Package or GridPro's Request Management. This is in addition to the native support for System Center VMs, VMware vCenter BS VMs, and Azure virtual machines that are enabled through vConnect platform. So usage and billing solution enables you to monetize every single resource and service offerings that you have on Windows Azure Pack platform. Thanks for joining us today on this session on Azure Connect for Windows Azure Pack. If you'd like to know more about how to deploy and use this, we have fully functional trial that doesn't expire that you can deploy on your Windows Azure Pack deployments. And here are some of the resources that you can leverage. And if you have any questions, please contact us at info@cloudassert.com. Thanks again.